What is the solution to the problems of the Ivy League schools and admissions? This is in the news all of the time. Do we count SAT scores? Do we count ACT scores? Do we count grade point averages? Do we give special privileges to one group or to another group? What do we do? Because I know, and I may get these numbers off, Harvard gets about 11,000 applications, primarily from very qualified people, and they only get to choose about 2,000 of them, which means they have to reject 9,000 people. Many of these people have the same SAT scores and the same grade point average, but they can't accept all of them. Same way goes with all of the other Ivy League schools. So what do we do about it? Well, a few years back, I was living in China, and China has a unique system to determine which school you can go to. They call it the Gaokao. It literally means the big test. And I was thinking we could use something similar to this as a sorting mechanism as to who gets into what school, at least in the Ivy Leagues. I'm not talking about the local state universities, but these schools that have so many applicants and so few openings. So here's what we do. You set up a test, nationwide test, just for the schools that want to participate, that have strict requirements coming in. You set a minimum benchmark. You cannot even take this test unless you have, 1,500 on SAT. Let's forget about the grade point average in high school, because we all know that all depends on which school you go to. And some schools grade very easy and some schools grade very difficult. So you've got all these applicants with a 1,500 SAT or a 1,450. You decide what it is, where the cutoff is. And you have an enormous test. Now in China, this test lasted for 2 days. It was not a pass-fail. It was not a test that they scored how well you did specifically. It ranked you compared to all the other students. And the test was enormously difficult. Nobody ever came close to getting every answer correct. Therefore, you rank the students on a percentile basis. And then Harvard could say, well, we are going to take the top 1 percentile of this group that takes the test. It could be proctored nationwide. It was a 2-day test. They tested everything. I've seen some of the math questions, and it blow you out of the water. They tested on history. They tested on English. They tested on Chinese poetry. It was a comprehensive exam. When they do this test, they would even shut down the traffic near the schools to make sure the students weren't disturbed. And for 2 approximately 6-hour days, these students took this nationwide test. Harvard could go even one step further. What would happen if they said, we're going to take the top 1 percentile of this test? And there were still too many. Well, they could have a second test for the people that were in the top 1 percentile and give them a separate test to see how many of them would rank. And again, just take your top ones. This way, you don't have the issue of, well, they went to prep school or they had schools with good grades. And we could stop all this foolishness of people saying, well, in order to get into Harvard, you need to go to Africa and dig wells during your summer breaks. Or you should start a business because it looks good on your college application. Or you need to write a 1,500-word essay that will so impress the school that they will disregard the fact that there are 1,000 other students that do just as well as you do. At long last, we will have a system that is fair to everybody. While we were in China, my wife was tasked with writing up an English test for the English teachers. And they were so upset. This was a test for scholarships, a 1-year overseas scholarship. And she wrote a test that nobody could pass. The reason she wrote this wasn't that she wasn't looking for anybody to pass it. She had to differentiate. Out of the 20 or so teachers, she had to pick the one that was the best at English. And you cannot have a test where 100 or 1,000 people score 100%. Then you can't differentiate. Well, this is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. If you're interested in my other thoughts, I have another channel. You can find it as Bible Walk with John, all one word after the YouTube @ symbol. I'll put the link down in the description, where I talk about the church and theology. And appreciate you listening. Please like and subscribe. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much. This is John. Bye-bye.